So we doing this?
So this is the dry run, right?
This is the dry run, man. That's it.
How did we end up here?
I don't know. That's the funny
This is
part.
like 48 hours ago.
Dude, this is
We
like
started
48
podcast.
hours ago. No. I'm sorry. All right. I personally, Bakes Media, my company, which I think we should all go around doing right now. Bakes Media, my company, needed a podcast, and I was about to do it myself, and then bring you guys in. But bullshit with you guys, that's more fun than anything, man. Because we do it every fucking day.
So, have you done it before?
Yeah, man. This is my third attempt at a podcast.
Okay.
The first one lasted 10 weeks. The last one I did lasted 4 weeks.
Why?
I wanted to do it for the longest time, and so the first one I was just the middle of the pandemic, shit going crazy. Called two of my friends and was just let's get this thing started. We did it. One was kind of into it. One was not into it. And it goes to that whole someone what we discussed I guess the other day was doing more work. What are we doing? There was no that conversation had never happened, both times, and I think that's kind of why it didn't work. And it's in the scenario I'm in now, though, this is the first time that I've done this with two people that have businesses and are in kind of, I guess, the same career path as what I'm doing, if that makes sense.
So it's easier to get along and do things with people if you're upfront from the beginning what the goal is.
Pretty much, yeah.
Start with the end in mind.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Because it's because a podcast on paper sounds great, and from your experience, it's everything on paper sounds great. Videos, doing this, doing that, but at the end of the day, this is work. Yeah. It's a lot of work.
100%. You've done it before?
No,
First time.
First time.
First time for everybody.
Before. But you see the clips everywhere. It's the best way to cut up content quick and distribute. And so, to get the voice out there, get the message out there, I'm excited to get it started.
Yo, you two got to chill out. You guys got so tense right now. Both of you are so tense right now. Calm the fuck.
It's a dry run.
It's a dry run.
I can feel it. You went like this. The second I was we started, bro. The second we started, he went like this. He's like, Bill.
Dude, look at this.
Turn the thing
Cut
back
glass.
around. So
Cut
I
glass.
don't want to know that it's recording.
I'm warming
I'm
my
already
hips up.
nervous because we got the live up there. I'm like, oh, I can't say shit.
So yeah, man. No, man, no. Come on, bro. We're slinging people. Hit the mozzarella.
So how did I get stuck with these two Dagos from New York?
Yeah, I know. I was
From Long Island.
This schmuck from Jersey, bro.
Yeah, fucking Jersey. The other side of that cesspool. Oh, man.
Oh my god. I just gotta say, I think it's also crazy how I moved to Fort Lauderdale and I was actually feeling lost when I left Tampa. But this time that I came back, I finally got that circle together, which is really cool. Because I asked for it, I got it, and I love it. It's nice being around people, especially coming into WeWork all the time, and I can go to advice for you guys. You guys are I guess are a couple steps ahead of me. And it's nice to be able to be around that every single day. And that's how I think we got to this point.
Totally. I think when I first started coming to WeWork, you weren't around, you weren't back in Tampa yet, Bill, you weren't here yet. And first 3 months were rough, you come to a space like this and you think it's going to be, all open, right? Everybody's an entrepreneur starting a business and, you're going to be able to bounce around those ideas. And it's just not really like that, you saw it when you came here, right? You definitely saw it.
100%.
It's not like that, there's a lot of these, small, medium-sized companies here. They're very cliquey, and it's not as, not as much of an entrepreneur scene as you'd think it is. So having you guys here and, being able to talk every day has been a real eye-opener, which is really cool. It made me enjoy it a lot more.
I think it's definitely gotten better. I got here in 2022. That was before all of this was built out. WeWork was not a common thing.
The WeWork even here?
Yeah, it was here. It was cheap, $99 a month at the time. Yeah, versus what it is now. But it wasn't. It was some remote workers here and there. But I also came. We were still kind of in the pandemic when I came in, and I think a lot of people were just getting their bearings together. Trying everybody I had met in that year, aside from my friends, was from New York or Jersey or Connecticut. Here. Mostly because of the places I just hung out at. And I think that now everyone is less like home New York, New Jersey based, and now everyone's like becoming like Floridians down here, and it's like they've kind of gotten into the groove of things. And in that 2 years, Water Street really got built out. And since that happened, like down here, hanging out downtown, like that wasn't a thing. It was always just Soho, get fucked up on the weekends. That was it. This whole downtown, like kind of ritzy area, it's been nice.
Yeah, it's definitely attracted a new crowd.
I never even knew Tampa really existed. I always knew of Tampa, the city.
How did you end up down here?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Because it just seemed not that it seemed weird, but the wife, the kids, established with houses. Like, you were pretty set up there.
Yeah, I was part of the witness protection program.
Oh God. Okay.
So my father-in-law got in some shit, and I was in the lamb.
Papadopoulos?
Yeah.
Manny
Papadopoulos.
Oh, Manny couldn't make it tonight. He's our fourth member, Manny Papadopoulos. He will be on. He will be on probably the next episode.
Born and raised in New Jersey. Got my family there, my wife's family there, kids there. I mean, everything. That was our route. We bought a home earlier last year, thinking that was gonna be our forever home. We're gonna get settled in. I'm a little bit older than you guys. I'm in the, father and husband stage of my life.
We're gonna get into that.
Yeah. And we said, all right, we're gonna settle in. I started my business during COVID. My wife's got a good gig going on. We got beautiful little 5-year-olds that run around and keep us busy. And we moved into our home, and we're like, okay, this is it. In a month, 2 months, 3 months, and we're like looking around. We're like, all right, this is the apex of what the American dream is, right? A white picket fence, a single family home, off on the weekends. And there was a part of us that just felt like we were living someone else's life, right? We were trying to, I don't want to say keep up with the Joneses, but we love our families, want to be close by, but it's also a gift and a curse. And we realized that, if we don't take a chance now at a young age with our kids not being rooted in a routine and in a location, we're never going to get this chance again. So I listed my house for sale. After 4 or 5 months, we said, let's see if it sells. Shits and giggles. And 24 hours later, we had a full cash offer. Oh my God. And 24 hours after that, we had a plane ticket. My wife and I came, and let's go check out Florida. Just see what happens. And to be honest, I have a very good friend who moved down about 3 years ago with his wife and kids. We're similar age and similar stage in our lives. And, he's very well researched and found Tampa to be an up-and-coming city, family-friendly, a lot of activities, the outdoor aspect, and just the growing, booming economy. And said, let's go check out Tampa. We never really checked out the West Coast before. Came down, toured around, and that was it. Found one property in the suburbs that was available. And we had like 2 days, not even 2 days to make a decision on it. And everything just kind of fell in place. But I'm a big believer of things happen for a reason and fate. And the crazier story is how Bill and I met here, because we knew each other from New York.
Yeah. This is a good story, actually. This is
even crazy. This is crazy.
This is where it gets kind of really crazy and kind of creepy.
Yeah.
So you tell it, because you're the one who found me. I would have never found you.
Yeah. No. So for everyone who doesn't know, Bill and I had met in New York at a Wix event.
For reference, just real quick, explain what you guys do with Wix, and just explain that quick scenario.
Yeah. So both of us are Wix partners.
Gotcha.
And so what that means is Wix has a partner program, where there's a whole marketplace. You have all different tiers, and essentially, as Wix users, right, small business owners need help. They can put in a request to the marketplace, and that request will get filtered out to specific partners.
Gotcha.
And so Bill and I are both Wix partners. We both receive leads from the Wix marketplace.
Very cool.
Help a ton of Wix users. So where that all comes together is back in, had to be 2020 maybe, or no,
21, 22 maybe.
it was right as like COVID restrictions were kind of coming back, I think, right?
Yeah, because everything was locked down in New York.
Yeah, it was still a iffy time. There was people. Yeah. Anyway, so Wix had one of those events, a big, event, everybody coming back in. I think it was DevCon, developer, for all the developers and everything. And that's where we first.
Is that the one with the
right?
breakout rooms? Was it that event? It was like a 2-day event, and the CEO was there.
Yeah, I believe so.
Is that where we met? Yeah.
I think that was the first
Probably,
one.
yeah. Because I had my team. I had like 3 or 4 guys with me, and yeah.
So we met at that event. That was the first one, maybe 2022-ish, whatever. And then as Wix got the feedback that hey, these events are great. Everybody's so excited. They started hosting more and more. So we met up at probably 3 or 4.
Yeah, a couple of them.
And
some of them planned, some of them unplanned.
Yeah. And so we always hung out at those events. We were kind of the younger guys there. Just
I don't know about younger.
chilling.
You were the younger
I don't
guy.
know. You were the younger guy. Well, you know, you got like there's some wackos there, you know. So whatever. We found each other and you know, kind of gravitated, and we had some really good conversations then. And you know, we've kind of grown from there, and you know, we were trying to work together on a couple things, and you know, eventually, when I moved down here. About 3 months later, you know, I came here. I was looking for office space. I knew I wanted to stay out of the apartment.
Yeah.
And so that's when I came to WeWork. And about 3 months later is when you decided to move down.
Yeah,
And,
I was on the 14th floor.
yeah.
I had my Orama shirt on.
Stalking him?
I was-
Are you stalking him?
No,
bro?
so
Are you stalking
I
him?
came down. I came down to go get some seltzer, you know, from the kombucha over there, you know. And I'm like, holy crap! I know that shirt. I saw a bill from behind, you know,
The Orama.
Yeah, I love small business.
I got a story about that afterwards.
So,
I got a story about that.
I'm thinking, I'm like, holy crap, that Bill's got to be here for, you know, seeing
An
a
event?
client or something. Yeah. I'm like, what Wix event is going on? And so I kind of like walked around just to make sure that it really was Bill. And I see him, you know, I'm getting the seltzer. I'm like, yeah, that's Bill. So, you know, went up and said, hey, like, what are you doing here? You know, like, the hell are you doing in Tampa? And sure enough, he goes,
I've been watching
here.
it.
Yeah, I've been watching it, little Johnny Hedgehow. And yeah, so, and I was like, yeah, I moved here about 3 months ago. So we overlapped, well, we met up about 3 months into
awesome.
Being here. And sure enough, out of all the buildings, there's got to be, at least 15 different co-working spaces down in Tampa. And here we are on the 14th floor of
It's
501
crazy.
East Kennedy Boulevard, you know. And yeah, that it propelled to where we are today.
It's weird with events because I also say I was working the event that Bill was at when he went to Vault last year. That's also kind of a little weird. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
I've been watching you too.
I'm telling you, man, Bill's sketching it out, man. But no, like I said, this is the ayahuasca Tony talking. Everything happens for a reason, man. Everything happens for a reason, you know. And maybe this is it. You never know.
He told me about you too.
Oh, did
Before we met, he said, you got to meet my buddy Tony.
Yeah.
No, so I was in the process. Actually, I was in the process of moving back. Billy and Lex were the first ones I called when I was moving back, and because we had stayed in touch, even though I was out of here. We would like keep in touch once a month, just catch up with everything that was going on.
We were always in the same line of work.
Yeah, something. We both entered kind of like that freelancer slash like remote entrepreneur like positions after college and everything. I met Billy when he was a pledge, so that was a wild time too, man. But don't talk about that no more.
Presidente.
El Presidente. No. I actually have the gavel in the car. That's what's even crazy, bro. It's just been sitting in my car.
The young boys.
Yeah, man.
Good times.
But yeah, and I guess my story coming down here is I moved down to Tampa, packed the car up January 1st, 2022. Never looked back. That's about it.
You guys miss home?
Never.
I think I miss the people,
Yeah.
but
I miss the people, and I'm not talking smack to anybody by this. I respect what everyone else is doing, but I remember just going home. I'm like, hey, brother, what's going on? What are you doing? I was like, I'm in the union, brah. I don't know. It's just, it's the thing about Long Island that I think a lot of people who stay there, like they don't get exposed to a lot because everybody's just kind of doing the same thing. Like you come down here, I didn't think I'd be working for a tractor company or crime scene cleanup company.
Well, the
You
odds
know,
of that.
I know that's what I'm saying.
especially after crime scene, I mean, that's a whole nother story.
Oh, should we go? Actually, no. Should we go? Mine now, I guess.
What, of getting to Tampa?
Of getting to Tampa.
Yeah.
Was it through crime scene?
No, so I packed up the car and I just said I was going through some stuff and I was like, I just need to get out. Like I need to escape. I had tried to do it beforehand because I had first moved to Austin in 2018. And then January 2019, the whole world shut down. I lost my job and I was like back home. So I ended up coming down here, no plan. I had $10,000 and that was it. Like it was 10 grand and my car. Packed it up, picked up my friend. We drove down 14 hours. Actually, it was like 20 at the time. And I was like, I'm just going to figure it out. Within a week, I had a job doing what Tommy's doing, door-to-door sales with Vivint, doing home security. I did that for like 3 months, and I'm just like knocking doors every day. I made okay money. Like I'm not One thing I have to say is that I'm not the best salesman, but that experience made me a better one. So like I've been working on it, and I always knew that I wanted to like do something with YouTube. And I'm scrolling on Indeed, and all of a sudden I see this thing. It's like, remediation company looking for YouTube producer. Exactly what I wanted to do. I'm like, they're looking for somebody with experience. They got like 1 million followers. When I looked it up, they had 750,000 at the time. And we ended up, I ended up like being like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. A month goes by. The ad post is still up. I'm like, let me just see what this is. I didn't just send in an application. I called them on the phone. I'm like, hey, I'm really interested in this position. How can I work with you guys? Can I send you a resume, whatever it is? I had dabbled in social media at the time. Like, I kind of knew what I was doing. I had started, I don't know if you remember Tony Bakes? Of course. I was doing bake drops before I had moved down here, and I was doing a lot of like vegan desserts. Like
I was running around with him.
Yeah.
Going to
deliveries,
bakeries and delis and other places. Guys screaming and yelling. You know, we're in the back kitchen. Yeah. Tony knows these guys. I'm like, where the are we right now? You know? Tony's delivering his vegan crap. I'm like, what the hell is this?
I figured out. So it first started out that I was working for. We were trying to work with influencers, and that's good. Keep checking the cameras. I always check the cameras. I was trying to work with influencers. We had partnered with this influencer. Like, it was literally a complete shot in the dark. We were making the desserts for her, and then she was using her platform to sell them online. Selling food items online is probably one of the hardest things to do. Freezing, dry ice, packaging. It's.
Do you remember the night we sat in the bakery and took like 500 something pictures?
Yeah.
Of what? Just desserts?
Before all of this, way before all of this, I was still a pledge at that time.
This is
bakery.
Okay. No. This is
one night they're closing down. And
that was Billy was starting to get into the internet stuff. I think this is where we first, like, this is maybe like one of the first times we connected. Very first time, and we were starting the Shopify store. Yeah. So, and dude, I didn't like neither of us. We had no experience at the time.
Store that connected Brian.
Yeah, that Shopify.
Store.
That's where this all.
Brian.
My problem with the IRS? Yeah. that Shopify store.
Dude,
that's this.
What? Full circle.
That's
2017?
this. 2017. I started the Shopify store. This was when Magnolia had like really taken off with the pudding. So I was like, let's just give this a shot, whatever it is. So we put it up there. And this was like when Shopify went viral. Remember when Shopify went viral? Like, everybody was like starting drop shipping stores and everything. Yeah. So this was right around that time. Like, it was like, everyone's entry level into entrepreneurship.
What year is this?
2017. Like, this is peak Gary Vaynerchuk and like peak YouTuber years. Like that, it's like the year of influencers that all of that like kind of panned out. Billy was like, I'm into like internet stuff or whatever it is. I'm like, I'm doing this. Do you want to just come help me out one night? I think I gave you like a tray of cookies or something. I don't even think I was saying. We were like bullshit. We were like, we bought like green paper. We were like hanging it up, trying to do like a green screen.
Dude, I went to the dollar store. It was rush hour.
He was a pledge. That's right. He had to go do it for me. I forgot.
I went to the dollar store and I found this like really crappy green paper, and we like hung it up with like these thumbtacks and crap in the bakery. And we sat there with, you remember like the little lamp? It was like that
I'm
metal
like, Billy,
lamp.
go with this, go like that, like that.
No idea what we were doing. But we took like, it was like 500 something pictures.
Oh my God, forget it, man, forget it.
Desserts.
We were starting to do it, and actually I remember we launched it. I knew nothing about advertising, marketing. I was like, I'm going to launch this store. This YouTuber said I just got to launch it, make some money, whatever, launch it. I think I made like $20 that day. So we left it on. And it actually, I guess it started doing well considering what happened to me a couple of weeks ago. That led to me starting Tony Bakes, which was my bake drop account. Every Wednesday I would like drop a new item, and I think we were doing like rainbow cookie donuts, just this other weird stuff. So tying that back to Crime Scene, that was my introduction to social media. And I was like, I got X amount of views. Like, I put together like a little case study or whatever it is. And I said to them, I was like, I also, from this, I was making about $7,000 a month. which was
What was that for your job?
for the Tony Bakes. The Tony Bakes was making like $7,000 a month.
How were you generating that revenue?
Oh, so just posting it online. Hey, Bake Shop Limited. Like you can. I'm only selling these for 24
sales of
on
the
Instagram
product.
on product. Yeah.
It wasn't like you're getting ad revenue or
No,
okay.
no. I was promoting a product. I was working with local influencers to blow it up.
So you were grossing seven K.
Grossing $7,000, but within bakery terms, you're making like $1,500.
Okay, yeah.
So, and it's a lot of work, whatever it is. So that, even though it didn't work out, I ended up using that to get the job at Crime Scene because I explained that to them. I was the only one because they were like interviewing Hollywood producers, whatever it is, and they were a huge YouTube channel, but they had a very, very small mindset. You know, it was a very small team at the time, and I basically explained what I had done with that, and they ended up hiring me. I was like, holy shit. At the time, they had like 400K on Instagram, 700,000 on YouTube, and like I think like 3.5 million.
What were they doing up to that point? That was just
There was no structure in there. They were the first ones to start a crime scene cleanup or a hoarding YouTube channel. They were the first ones to do it. Like before, like she was already doing it for 5 years. She had been through.
Was this legit production at the point, or was it someone with a camera phone going into?
It was legit a camera. They had they had some production. You know, good old Johnny boy, who lives with me now. Johnny was just filming for them, and he's a good videographer. But they didn't have like the structuring behind it on like how to really like grow a YouTube channel. And I had kind of understood structuring and management from like, you know, working in the bakery all those years. So they were just kind of throwing stuff up. When I came in, like we started like strategizing. And again, I'm doing this all off the fly. Like I'm figuring this out as I go. Month one, I got there. In total, I worked with them for a year. The first like 6 months, nothing. You know, we were kind of breaking even. It was all good and everything. January 2nd, I'll never forget it. We posted a video. I woke up the next day. We went from 700,000 to 1.2 million subs overnight.
What are subs?
Subscribers. And at the time, subscribers were a lot different. Like it was more like getting to 1 million subs back then was out of 300 million YouTube channels, only 22,000 had ever done it at the time. Now it's a little more common. It's a little bit more easy to go viral, but at the time, it was like huge. We were like the last end of like.
Was it a particular video?
Yeah, we posted this one video. The strategy was go through all the content that we already had and make clips out of it, you know, and just start clipping content, chop it up, like I explained to you guys with this.
Was that around the time that Shorts?
Shorts had just come out. Shorts had been out for 8 months at the time, but the Shorts payment changed, and about 2 weeks after that, when the Shorts payments changed. Something tricked the algorithm, whatever. But we were posting 7 days a week, 2 videos a day, and it took 6 months for one of them to hit and go viral. That one that hit and went viral caused a ripple effect that made every other video just go mega viral. I think in total we did about 90 million views in about a week. And the thing just blew up from there.
So explain to me now how views translates to dollars in the register.
At the time, AdSense. So YouTube pays you in AdSense, but we ended up doing a collaboration at the time because we were getting a lot of traction. We also got canceled at the time too, which we'll get into another day because I don't want to get into that. But we ended up doing a video with this businesswoman, Cody Sanchez. From all that, I reached out to her. I was like, hey, we do this and that, whatever. This was like one of the coolest things that I think I ever pulled off there because it's like as a producer, it's like you're the guy that puts everything together. The fact that I was able to manage this, it was like life changing, you know. So there was the AdSense part of it where you do a certain amount of views, you get paid. Back then, a 12 million views short paid out like 12 grand. It was a lot of money. But I also, going back to the influencer thing that I used to do with the baking, we reached out to this influencer named Cody Sanchez. And she was small at the time. She was still growing her channel. I said, hey, this is what we do. Do you want to come out and do a business breakdown video? Because aside from the crime scenes, the views and everything, a crime scene remediation company makes a lot of fucking money. Like a lot of money. Like I'm talking like you can make $100 grand in a day doing this job.
This is a crime scene. I'm sorry to keep asking questions. Yeah. Walk me through the business model of a crime scene cleanup. An unfortunate situation happens.
Somebody passes away. you have to.
Who calls a crime scene?
So if somebody passes away, you call the cops. They come there. Cops, you're gonna ask. You basically ask the cops, "Hey, when are you guys gonna clean this up?" "Oh, nope, don't clean it up. You got to find a cleaning company to do it."
So the cops are basically your bridge. Your
No, we're
gatekeeper.
not allowed to communicate with cops. Not allowed to communicate with cops. The cops tell the person, they're like, "What do I do?" They're like, "Sorry." So you'll Google us or whatever it is.
Okay.
Google was the main thing because you can't run ads for this business. You can't run like, "Hey, we clean murder sites."
Yeah.
It's they don't allow it. So they contacted. So then from that, you go through your insurance company because there's a mess everywhere when you pass away.
Insurance is
Homeowners insurance company.
Okay,
Homeowners
gotcha.
insurance company. And don't quote me to that, but there's an insurance element to that. I don't run the business, whatever. But Laura's a good friend, and she'll probably be on at some point. So that was her side of the business. And the YouTube thing was just like a bonus for her that she did, that it just blew up like crazy.
So did the YouTube bring in more business from a crime scene, or did it just get attention and generate revenue?
It generated organic attention. I can tell you for one, we pulled off a $15,000 job off of a video. A fan's mother passed away, and it was in her will that she wanted us to clean the seat.
And where is this business located at this point? Florida?
I'm not going to get into that.
Okay, gotcha. Let's say it's located in Texas.
There's actually a lot of franchises. There's a lot of franchise models. This is a big franchise industry.
model.
Yes.
So
yes.
the name itself, if somebody sees this video in Arizona, can they contact this company? No. Gotcha. All right.
We're gonna cut that out. The whole company went down. They're done.
Okay,
They're done.
gotcha.
That's why. But yeah, there's a lot of other crime scene cleaning companies. She still does it in Tampa. It is Spalding Decon. But they're just. I believe that they're only in Tampa now. I'm not.
Well, that's a good way to tie it back into how you got down here, because that job was in Tampa.
That job was in Tampa. So basically, yeah, they had the location in Tampa. After 3 months of doing door to door and a bunch of variety of other jobs, I went in there, turned the whole thing around, and it set my career up for basically the rest of my life. It was like, it's like the case study of case studies that I can just take to people. And I've done other things since then, now working with John Deere, working with a couple of other like local influencers down here in Florida. But yeah, that was like that defining moment for me that like just, it was, I don't know. I'm gonna ask you guys about this. Do you guys remember like that thing that happened to you that kind of switched you into that like entrepreneur mode?
Mm-hmm.
What was it?
A couple different things. So I came from a family business. I came from, Greek American, humble upbringing. We're in the restaurant business, and throughout my life, I always followed my family's footsteps. My uncle, my grandfather, that were running the business, that were in the business.
Yeah.
All through my late teens and most of my 20s, I followed my family's footsteps. I wanted to be in the business. And then around the time I was getting married in 2016, I decided to step away from the family business. I said, you know what? This is the apex of where I'm going to be at, is being through the family. Let me go somewhere outside of my comfort zone. Let me go, I didn't have much of a resume, so I went to the corporate restaurant world where I had the work ethic, I had the knowledge, I wasn't polished, I didn't have the systems and operating procedures.
What were you, actually, can you describe like kind of a little bit about the corporate model of like restaurants? Because I think people, whenever someone thinks of a restaurant, they don't really see like, there's a whole behind, like TGI Fridays, all these massive chains. There's systems that involve in all this.
The reason why they're all over, So
can you break that down?
So let me give you the simple science behind the family-run business, right? Typically, it's someone who started the business, someone who bought into the business, whoever. There's a patriarch or matriarch within the business, and amongst that business, typically there's one way of doing things. It's grandpa's way or dad's way. You know this. You come from the same background. And it was their way, and typically from my experience and from there was no other way, right? And then, it graduated down the generations. And then, the next generation learned it. And if you're lucky enough to be a third generation business, you learn from the ones in front of you. But there was no rhyme or reason or logic behind why things were done. It was just because, hey, I told you to heat the sauce up this way, cool it down that way, and that was it. Right. And I was always curious as to why things were done a certain way, okay? And sometimes you're often walking on eggshells because, you're walking into the building, you're my father, my grandfather, my uncle, and it's like, I got to do it your way, right? Or else you flip your shit.
It's that level of respect.
It's a level of respect, and it's a level of you're always going to be underneath someone's wing.
Yeah.
And so I got to a point where I realized that, you know what, no one's going to open the door up for me and take me to the next level. I got to figure it out on my own.
Right.
So I took a leap of faith. My wife trusted me at the time. We were about to get married, and I said, you know what, I'm going to leave the family business. Her side was also in a similar situation. They were in the pizza business. Yeah. So we both came from very similar backgrounds. I said, you know what, anywhere I turn, someone's involved in a restaurant business. Greeks, Italians, we're all the same. And so And I went to a corporate company, and kind of similar. I was looking online. Actually, it was a Craigslist ad for a kitchen manager position. A kitchen manager position.
Yeah.
Now here I was.
That's typical, by the way. Craigslist for kitchen.
Yeah.
That sounds about
Yeah,
right.
and I realized, you know what? I have to have no shame. There is no ego, right?
Yeah.
Who am I, right?
Right.
Because I'm so and so's son or nephew or grandson. Let me go somewhere where nobody knows me. Let me start from the ground level.
Yeah.
Let me make a fraction of what I was earning in the family business, and at least I can learn from the ground up in a complete strange situation to see what I'm worth.
Can I ask you this question? How old were you, and did you have kids at the time?
I was 29. 20,
So this was before that.
it was a couple years before kids.
Okay.
Yeah. I was getting married in a couple months.
But the point that I wanted to bring up here is that you were much later in life, and you were still kind of making that 180, which is
absolutely.
something I think a
I was
lot of
30 years
people.
old.
Yeah, which is like. That's like a scary thing to do, especially me. Like I'm 32 years for me, and it's like there's that level of pressure at 30. But I think I think you shouldn't put that pressure on you, and I think that's something to acknowledge. You know,
Well, there's two things I think that have to play a factor into what decision you make. It's the timing of what you're doing and the tolerance you have for risk, right? The younger you are, the more you can take a bigger chance because you can recover, you can rebound.
Yeah.
You know, as you know, the older you get, the more you have. I have 4 mouths to feed, right? I'm thinking of I can't take the leap. I mean, making a leap to Tampa like we did was something in itself a huge test. But with every leap, you actually get stronger. You figure out more about yourself and your capabilities. Anyhow, back to your question about the corporate structure and the restaurants, right? What I realize is, we made a joke earlier, about Chipotle. You go to Chipotle, you don't see Mr. Chipotle there. You go to McDonald's, you don't see Mr. McDonald's there. You see you see systems and procedures working behind the scenes to give you a consistent product and service, whether it's a shitty service or whether it's a great service or great product. But you see consistency, right? You go to a family-run operation, you see the. I don't gotta say anything else, right? You get it.
well, you do have to say it because people don't know what the hell we're talking
So you
about.
go to a family-run operation. Typically, you can feel the tension, or you can feel the mood of the atmosphere the moment you walk in. You know the who's who in an Italian restaurant, right?
Yeah.
The moment you're in Long Island, you walk.
I think anywhere you are in an Italian restaurant in the United States, you know who's in charge.
So you can cut the tension in the air, right?
Yeah.
And for the most part, right? And this is from a customer service standpoint. This is why I credit my customer service skills and my hospitality skills and just my people and awareness skills to being in the restaurant business all my life. Is that when you're in the family-run business, right? When the customer comes to you and has a complaint, or whatever, they know you give a shit, right? And they oftentimes they almost exploit it. Right?
Yeah.
When you go to a Pizza Hut and there's an hour wait and there's open tables there and no one's bitching that they're saying, hey, what's going on here? But being in the spotlight, when I was working the front of house, right? And taking names on a Sunday morning at a diner. And, the kitchen's jam-packed. You got servers who can't handle the stations, right? You got people down your throat. Hey, I got a party. There's a table. Why can't we sit? We're like, well, the kitchen's back. You don't want to tell them the kitchen's backed up. We're short-staffed. So that being said, in the non-family I guess you say establishments, they overcome that by having the systems that we're talking about, right? So when I went to the company I went as a kitchen manager. I went from the ground level position. The next level below that was a team member. But I say, you know what? I had knowledge about the kitchen, and what I fell in love with right away was there was a system for doing everything, right? Yeah. When I cooked the Brussels sprouts, right, there was an actual procedure on how to cook them, how to season them, what temperature, when to take them out of the oven, to the point where we actually had calibrated, ovens, convection ovens that did it for you. So
you guys have the red book? You know what I'm talking about?
Like an actual book for
the red? No, like the temperatures wise. Because I managed a Dunkin' Donuts for a year in college, and he remembers, dude, I was such an asshole at this job, bro. It's like, because you're working.
Dunkin' Donuts.
And being an asshole?
Being an asshole, bro. Listen, whatever. But no. The thing I want to bring up is that like the procedures and everything over there. There's a procedure on quality control, and we would have this red book that we wrote in every single day, so that when the health inspector does come in, it's all recorded. So, you have everything in there.
I'll tell you. I'll fast forward to the red book in a second, but when I learned there were systems and procedures within the organization or within the business, it took me back to when I was in the family business. My grandfather would say, leave the sauce out after I cook it, leave it on the counter. Yeah. Don't put it in the fridge. Well, why? Well, I said so, let it cool down. There was a reason why. He wasn't wrong.
Right.
He just didn't know that you had to cool it down from 140 to 70 in the first 2 hours and so forth. So I always wanted to know the why, so I wasn't making shit up when I was explaining to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So fast forward, that led me to wanting to know more about the restaurant industry. So that entrepreneurial, back to the original question you brought up, and the entrepreneurial switch happened when I had to take the Serve Safe course. This is my second time taking it. I took it within the company I was at. And my manager at the time, my district manager, he was a proctor within the company. And I pulled him aside when I did the course. I said, yo, how'd you start doing this? I'm really interested in it. Just so I'm well versed and I want to know the whys behind why food needs to be prepared a certain way. So he explained to me the process, how he did it and why he doesn't, how he does it on the side and how he makes some money. So bingo. I went from working 80, 70, 65 hours a week, 6 days a week in the family. And these are hard hours, right?
Yeah.
These are,
nonstop.
Saturday morning, late night, Friday.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm pulling all nighter out with my friends or whatever, and 2 hours of sleep.
7
I'm on the
a.m.
kitchen
back
line.
up.
When I went to a 40-hour-a-week job, it was a part-time job, a 45-hour week. Yeah. So when I hear kids work, I'm tired. I'm like, 45 hours? Dude, that's a part-time job.
Yeah.
That's literally a part-time job. So fast forward to the time when I befriended the proctor for Serve Safe. I learned on how to do it, how to teach courses. Half of my work week was out of the way. I decided that I was going to become an instructor and proctor with Serve Safe.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I never made a website before, and I got to the point where I'm like, all right, everyone I know in my family, in my circles in the restaurant business, they all need Serve Safe.
Yeah.
Right. They all need a certification, which is required by the Department of Health. I said, let me put it out there to them that I am a qualified instructor and proctor. I come on site, teach the courses, help them get certified. Well, I didn't want to have a conflict of interest with my job at the time, so I created a fake company. I just put a logo together. I researched on YouTube at the time. This is 2017, around the time of, it's kind of funny how guys were in a different...
That was the year of the entrepreneur.
Exactly.
That was on the internet. That was the year the entrepreneurs all blew up.
2017, although I'm I got 10 years probably on you guys, I started my business in 2017, my side hustle. Made my first landing page, got my first lead, and I'll never forget the greatest feeling was about a day after I launched, I published my site at the time, which was, I look back and I'm like, who actually found this website? And why would they fill out a form? It looked like a virus, right? I had a stranger. I had a stranger fill out the form on the site, and he had like 7 or 8 people. It was an organic market, ironically, right across the street from where I worked. Yeah. And I was like, I never taught a class. I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to fake it. I'm going to fake it till I make the whole cliche. And I called them up. I said, hey, I'll be there. I just tried to make myself look polished and bigger than what I was. Yeah. I showed up there, and I put together a sheet with a fake logo. So I looked at what was put together. Here's the pricing per student. Here's how long it's going to take. He cut me out a check right then and there to teach this course.
How much?
I think at the time it was about $850.
Does I have a reason for this?
Yeah, it was about eight something, right? I think I might have charged $150 a person. I'll never forget that check. Because I'm like, I didn't do anything for you. Yeah. You saw that I was legitimate online somehow, and you trusted me enough to cut me a check before I even showed up. That was the time.
And just to add on to that, because there's two reasons, and you're next on this one. The happiest entrepreneur moment for me was when I came here, and I was like, I got to get into video somehow. I don't know what the fuck I was doing, bro. I pulled up some dude's video. I'm like, yeah, I do this. And I went up to a deep... What the fuck? Oh, don't even fucking tell me this shit.
Did that? Said it was the camera was too hot.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, the lens was too hot. It was cooling down.
Yeah, those Sonys, brother.
Dude, they do. No, they do overheat. Yeah, no, thank you. Just give it a second. We're good. Fuck, man.
So we got those.
How much per episode?
Yeah.
I don't want anything per episode. I don't want anything. I just want what they pay the editors.
Talk about fake it till you make it,
yeah, right.
Mr. Producer.
Shows up. These are probably fake Sonys.
Oh my god, man. Yeah, right, man.
So, you were saying?
I was saying that we'll cut back to you in a second. The happiest moment of my entire entrepreneur thing, and coming from having my biggest year yet this past year, the first $200 I got paid for a video shoot of some dude I found walking up on the street and said, hey, I can shoot a video for you. Here's how much it costs. Will you do it with me? And he said, yeah. And that was like
What kind of video was that?
some DJ video, bro. I don't know, do DJ. I'm not good at club videos, like at all, bro. Like
in there. Ooh.
yeah, bro. Yeah. Well, also, like I got these people like touching me and shit. I was like, I don't like being touched. Like, I don't like that. Like, stay the fuck away from me, you know. And
every time I go up to him, I'm like,
dude, I hate it, bro. Dude, ask him, bro. Dude, I don't like it. I don't like being touched. Yeah. Billy's all right. No, I swear to God, bro. Dude. So like, even when Stop, bro. No, it like freaks me the fuck out. Seriously, my sister one night she was with this dude. Get the fuck away from me. Now you told him, bro. My sister one time we were hanging out with her and some schmuck she was dating at the time. Oh, congrats, Julie, you just got engaged.
Hey, congrats.
She's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, don't fucking touch me. I was stoned too. Whenever I'm stoned, it's even worse. But anyway, yeah, that feeling of like, I can create, like, not even that I can create money, it's just that I can create something to help myself. That was the big thing for me. And it was a surreal fucking moment. And then to end off the whole crime scene thing with that entrepreneur, the moment for me was after I had done all that for her, I got fired. And I was like, I never want to work for anyone again a day in my life because this feeling sucks. I worked so hard, got so many results, and...
Send a screenshot to Lexi. I think she's texting you. She's nervous. So she knows you're all right.
Did she watch it, though?
No.
But yeah.
You know, I go back to that time. I mean, I still don't know to this day how that customer found me.
Yeah.
I didn't publish it. I didn't post it anywhere. It was a 1-in-1 domain. You familiar with 1-in-1?
No, what is that?
It's like a Namecheap or like a step below GoDaddy at the time. They had like a template builder. Real rigid. It really sucked, but I was at least able to get my logo on there in a form, and they found me. But all good.
Yeah. Get yelled at for not putting the Tupperware away. Cooked me a nice dinner, and I put it right in the fridge, just on the plate, and not happy. You gotta put it in the Tupperware.
So tell us the story that I heard from you, at least, on how you got. Were you working with the frat at the time, or
the moment?
Yeah, I mean, as you're kind of talking about it, I don't know if there was any like one particular moment. I think it was a kind of a path, a few different things that led up to this point.
Yeah.
But I guess it started with being in college, right? And I always had an interest in the digital world. I mean, I did a couple of these like programs in high school where it was all like business focused. I always handled the marketing side, right? We would go and basically you create like a fake business and you go through all the aspects. I mean, there was tons of documentation about how to do it, and you were graded on it. We had to make all these presentations, and we were going in front of like county boards and stuff like that on Long Island to make presentations, pitch our business.
Yeah.
And I love that, and I was always on the digital side of those activities, I guess. And so in college, we had a mutual colleague of ours that was running an agency at the time, super small, and it was around the time that the Wix Marketplace was actually launched. And
what year was this?
It wasn't when it was launched, but it was when it was rebranded.
This was like 2018. This was like
probably 2018.
No, I'm sorry. This was COVID because I remember he got in.
That was right before
2018, 2019. Then.
2018, yeah. Maybe. Oh, then maybe it was.
It was right before.
No, I'm sorry. He was applying for it. He got accepted that summer. That's what it was. The summer of 2019 is when it they started the application started earlier. Then that summer is when he got in.
And so when I got there, and I was tasked with running the Wix Marketplace at the time, that whole rebrand. And so I had built a couple of Wix websites at that point, and I said, all right, I could build websites. And sure enough, as we were getting the leads, they were coming in, he was like, all right, here's your phone, call them up. And I was like, what? I have no idea. I've never called a lead in my life. Who is this? What are we even doing? I was just here to build websites. And so anyway, as the program, launched, it grew, and we were getting, lead after lead after lead. started building websites, right? Fixing up websites, talking to all these different businesses all over the country. Do you want me to keep going or what?
Yep, keep going.
We're building all these, all websites for companies, organizations, entrepreneurs, people starting up all over the country. And so I thought that was, really cool. I thought it was a great program, like as you know. And as I had new ideas, new things that, I wanted to do to try and automate the process and really scale it up because, the program is based on how many projects you complete, how fast you do it, right? So I had all these ideas and wanted to bring in this layer of automation. And kind of was like shut down, and I was like, all right. Like
Shut down by the kid who ran it, the boss, essentially?
Yeah, exactly. And
you told him I worked for him too, right?
No.
I worked for him too.
Yeah. So anyway, from there that summer, I went back to lifeguarding because I was lifeguard. I grew up lifeguarding. That's what I did in the summer. So
Speedo or no Speedo?
No Speedos. No
Great,
Speedos.
great job to have on Long Island, by the way.
Great job. I mean, I loved it. It was on the beach every day, getting tanned and
Free
having a good
lifetime
time.
membership. Free lifetime membership.
It wasn't. It was. I
wasn't
had
that,
lifetime, but I was on the beach for a while. I was on the beach.
I
The beach was
forgot
great.
that,
So that was, at the time, that was big money. I would make I could work the summer and I wouldn't have to work a day during, the school year, and I could go out and, it was big money at the time. So I was lifeguarding, and I said, I just don't know if I'm gonna, go back. I was still working on websites, but I wasn't handling leads. And so I got to that point where the summer came to an end, and I'm like, all right, what am I gonna do? And I was driving, out east. It was 45 minutes every time to go to this office, and I'm like, I think I'm going to give it a shot myself, and try and start this partnership. And so I went to Wix. I applied. I kind of told them the backstory. I said, hey, listen, like you see these websites, I built all of them, and they were like, oh, okay, they kind of verified that and put me on some kind of fast track program that they had at the time to get into the marketplace. And they gave me like a year to get to that certain point, and about a month and a half in, I hit that number that you had to have to start getting leads on your own, without paying and doing whatever other stuff they had. So at that moment, I was like, wow, all right, this could really be done. I had a couple websites under my belt. You're talking to organizations like, I was working with the Corpus Christi Police Foundation, building our websites.
I remember that account.
15,000 people that are signing up, through a website that I built, and I was just shocked to think that, like, here I am, at the time, I think I was charging like $150 a month. Like, it was just anything.
Life-changing.
Yeah.
Billy was cheap back then.
I didn't know what to charge.
I even said to him, I was like, bro, you should not charge it enough of money right now.
What would I know at that point, right? And I'm just sitting there like, hey, building websites. And I just thought it was cool that people were using, things that I had built. And so I guess that was a major point in kind of saying, hey, I think this can be something. Yeah. And, it definitely took off from there.
I think what was crazy about that time is actually because I remember me and Billy, we were, that's when we like started, like I started becoming like, I started getting closer with you because I was still at the bakery, but like I was in that, he was figuring it out with his own. And I remember, because like I was still trying to figure out like Instagram and everything, and he's like showing me all these tools, whatever it is, and he put me on to. I was like, oh, there's this thing called software that you can buy to help you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Billy screwed up a couple Instagram accounts though. I'll never forget that one.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even get into that.
The bots, bro.
So,
this dude down.
In the beginning, one of the first things, I already had this fascination with like automation, right? Figuring out how to automate tasks, anything, especially online. And so I found this software. It was like this half illegal like thing. I don't even know how.
No, fully illegal.
Where you could basically you set up your accounts on like Instagram. You connect your Instagram, you connect to your Facebook, and it was just a bot that would act as a person that sits on Instagram all day long on your account, acting on your behalf.
Yeah.
So it's literally as if you sat on your phone and went through every single you searched a topic, right? And you just started liking, commenting, reposting, sharing. And so when you do that all day long, you get in front of
fuck up your account.
tens of thousands of accounts, right? And at the time, Instagram and Facebook, they didn't have anything to block you from doing that. So it was just, install this thing and let it rip. And you were getting tens of thousands of views a day because you're interacting with thousands of accounts, right? You know, and you get one person to share one thing that you did.
It was the first time like people started figuring out like, okay, we can fuck with the algorithm,
Yeah.
and then after that, that's when Meta like cracked down on everything. Because YouTube, you really couldn't do it. Like it was a lot
It's hard to
harder.
fake views, but-
Yeah, it's hard. But on Instagram, you could fake engagement, man, and it would pop. Like, dude, I remember, you could like make it say some nasty shit, man. Like nasty shit.
Yeah, but so people used it for the wrong reasons.
No,
right?
no, no. What I'm saying, to drive engagement, like it's like you could use it to stir controversy, basically. Like that was
Yeah.
the whole point of that. It's like that's how you would.
Isn't that kind of the whole thing? Not to get into politics, but like how they had like farm bots act on the behalf of, like, you know,
That's
if you were
literally what it was,
if
yeah.
you're one point of view,
Yep.
they fired away things and antagonize you and vice versa.
We can get into that in another episode, but you know,
Crazy.
working with the people that I've worked with over the years, like you start to realize, like when you really look down at the deep social media strategy, it's how can we pin not any particular group, but how can we figure out a way to pin two groups of people together to engage in the comments to blow the video up. It's the number one strategy that a majority of content creators will use. And it doesn't have to be anything. It's like we do it. Deer versus Kubota, you know, like just people like this
do it
tractor
in a
over this
friendly
tractor in a
corporate
friendly
way.
corporate way. You can
Yeah.
do it, you know. But it's like it's the number one strategy.
So at the time, we're in the frat, and our goal was to, you know, like do crazy things and make it as like cool as possible. So we were running it on the frat accounts to like, you know, put it in front of everyone. I mean, half of Long Island we're seeing like the stuff that we were posting. Yeah, Kappa Sigma,
They broke a record that year, actually.
Yeah, tens of thousands of views because we got this thing just sputtering away all day.
No, like
you
the
know?
pledge. I remember they had the fraternity like grew from like 30 people to like 60 people that year.
It was crazy. And you know, this thing was, we had it set up, it was DMing people, like weren't even going to our school, but it was, you know, I didn't have the filtering dialed in yet, and it was just
Party this
firing
weekend.
away, yeah, inviting random people, and yeah, I mean that's so. Eventually, Instagram caught up, right? And they were like, "Hey, we can't let accounts do this." It's very easy to see on their end that hey, this profile likes 500 posts in the last 5 minutes. Like there's something wrong here,
yeah.
and we got our account flagged like 4 times. It
And
had
so
to
they
do like
blocked-
some ID
yeah.
verification. We eventually got it back, but like they shut it down real quick, and you know they would kick.
This
these
was the
accounts off.
wild. I remember this was the wild west of social media. These were the good people call the good times.
That was like 2015, 2016.
Yeah, I know.
You know what? It just amazes me because, all right, so I'm a little bit of a generation ahead. I'm caught in the middle. I'm caught between your parents' age.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right in the middle. I'm halfway between your parents' age and you guys.
Yeah.
Right? So I very much gear towards that mindset of doing things old-fashioned. Hey, just go shake someone's hand, go talk, go get a job, go this, that.
Yeah.
And so up until now, I didn't really understand the true strategy behind what I mean. I hated social media.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a
Yeah.
Facebook account. Like I'm like, you know what? I'm doing all my shit in private. Like nobody's. I looked at it more of like, hey, this is a new generation. The new young kids are encroaching on the way things need to be done. You know what? Back in my day, you go out, you date, whatever, you meet people, right? There was no swipe right, swipe left.
Yeah.
And so I always, maybe not just me, but I think a lot of my generation we missed the cutoff. We were right towards the end of it. I mean, just to put it in perspective, I was 16 when, actually 12, 13 when AOL Instant Messenger became the first way we kind of communicated outside of phone calls and text. So now fast forward to my industry now, what I'm doing, and just being around younger, smarter, more innovative people and kids. It's like holy crap! It's a whole way of doing things, and my mindset was always, all right, well, what's the point? What's the bottom line? How are these views? How is this engagement gonna bring money into the register, as I like to say? How is it gonna actually bring me? But it's not always about that. It's the engagement, it's awareness, it's letting people know that, wait a minute, you're doing something over here. It validates you on the bigger, but it creates a bigger funnel to your business or to your message, whatever that is. Totally. And it's all about the funnel, I think.
The thing that really kills me about it is that it's like, it's almost as if, like what you said, like that older generation, if anyone would understand that, it should be them, because it's like, my mom is old school realtor, man. Like walks up to people. She does great, she's a people person. But I've seen this woman, okay, that's got to chill out for a second. I've seen this woman legit stay with a client who did not buy from her for 3 years to get one house. She got it in the end, but it's that long game. And that's where I kind of almost get like the disconnect where I'm like, how do they not understand, like, you know, when you're building a brand or like, you know, posting these videos and everything, it's like you're playing the long game to make that introduction easier for people so that they get used to you. And when it's executed properly and you build, you know, 100K, 150K, million, you know, like following community now, that's where it works. Because it's like you have all these people that are just constantly watching you on a day-to-day basis. And at some point you're going to have something to sell them and you sell it to them.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. I mean, when I was originally playing with that, it's bringing back memories at this point. I had, there was, at one point I was running this, I was playing with the software, right? And originally I said, you know, let's see what we could do. I was playing with my account, and I had a couple other accounts I was running. So like collectively, it was doing a lot of views. I mean, stuff like numbers today that like people would be going crazy about. And at one point I started saying, well, hey, why don't I just do this for other people, you know? I was literally like probably 15, and I had this running, and I remember it was a this woman named Samantha Sepulveda, okay, and she was a supermodel that was she was an NYPD officer turned supermodel, and
legit?
She had super legit. She had like I think it was like maybe 50,000 followers at the time. But I don't know what happened. I think in her early stages, she might have like bought followers. So every day that number was going down. It wasn't people actually unfollowing her. Like you could see like real people were following her, but she was losing those fake followers. And she didn't want that number to go down. So here is my system with my account DMing people all day long, and she responds. And I remember like this happened a couple of times, but she responded and she's like, listen, like I need to increase my engagement. Like I'm losing followers. Can you help me out? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I had this account, which at the time, you know, call it 50,000 followers. I was like, holy crap, like this is insane. And I set up her account and started, you know, generating all this engagement on her stuff. And she was, you know, getting a ton of new followers. And I don't know what she was doing, you know, on her end, whatever, you know, she was doing to make money. But I just thought, like, that's pretty wild. Like, I don't even know who this person is. I don't know where they are. Never met them. But
So I think, and again, I don't want to call this a disconnect. I'm seeing what the value is between the generations, right? Like my social currency is my reputation I have amongst my fellow peers in business, partners I have, vendors, clients, especially customers, right? My thing is my reputation I have with them, right? If I'm service oriented or customer service oriented, that's what I care about. Fast forward to a younger generation who has more of a head start, and you know, it's never been easier to start a business today, right? Let's put it that way. Their social currency is the amount of followers and views they have.
Incorrect.
No?
So in 2017, yeah, because the way that social media worked in 2017, and I can go into this for hours. The way that it worked in 2017 was people only looked at one number: how many followers do you have? Businesses didn't even know what was happening. The media was like, oh, this is a joke. Instagram is crazy. Twitter's this and that, yada, yada, yada. TikTok wasn't even around at the time. And Vine, yeah. At the time, people didn't really like understand that what a conversion. Yeah, it's still on. It's still going. Somebody's watching. People didn't understand what a conversion was. So when you say conversion, take them through the funnel. So from view to sales page to close sale to meeting to close sale, whatever it is. So conversion rating like wasn't a thing. The famous saying back then was that the average influencer is getting about a 10% conversion rating. So if they have 200,000 followers, that means 20,000 people are going to buy something from them. This was accurate on YouTube. David Dobrik, Logan Paul, those guys that were having $1 million merch days and like $5 million merch weeks, it applied to them at that time. That can't happen anymore because I actually have a client that was about to launch a merch line. She's a pretty decently sized influencer, 45K. And we repositioned it now to something completely different because I'm like, why would you even remotely want to go into that? Because there's, you know, you have to buy it, you have to lay money out and all this stuff. And like, I hate to break it to you, your conversions are not there because majority of people will not support you enough to want to spend $60 on like a pajama set or something like that. They want to get value out of whatever you're trying to sell them. So that's where that whole community thing comes in. She's in a very, very niche position where it's an up and coming sport. I can just say it's pickleball. it's an up and coming sport that people want to learn, and that's how these influencers are going to win this time. So like that reputation thing, it went away for a little bit, but now someone like you comes in and learns the fundamentals of social media with the reputation knowledge you have of the real world. Those are the ones that are going to win the next 10 years on social.
I wasn't talking about, maybe I phrased it wrong. I'm talking about I meet you off the street.
Yeah.
Tony, I'm Bill. Bill, Tony, nice to meet you. I'm explaining, hey, Bill, what do you do? I have a company, I do X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. What do you do? I'm an influencer or media content producer. Yeah. I have 1 million views on YouTube, whatever. At some point in time, I might be interested in your services, right? Why would I put stock in I call them vanity metrics, right? Because I care about how you're going to take care of me as, I'm a client, I'm a customer, and I'm doing business with you. Mm-hmm. I'm paying you monthly, annual, whatever thing is to do a job for me. Let's say your job now is to produce this podcast and chop up videos. What do I care how many views you have? I care, dude, if you ever got 1 million views, but you don't get back to me in 2 weeks, that's how I look at it, right? Like I put very little stock still in that fake, I call it a fake word, because I'm older and I can't wrap my head around it. I know the value behind it, but how do you bridge the gap between, this is who I am in this universe, but I'm a rock star in what my services are and what I provide?
The answer to that is that it's not you're looking like people. I think it's in the sense that it's like people looking at every single follower. It's like you're not looking at that. You're just looking at the mass majority of people like seeing what you do, and the way you do that is those individual DMs you get, like the school group you started. That one random kid went in there with you. You took the time with him. Where's the return on investment in that? You don't know where it is. He might start a business and you don't end up buying from a ramen one day. You have to kind of put your eggs into like those individual baskets, and that's where the value comes from with it. And you putting it out there, your return on it is the fact that that one person who just so happens to need your service, they're the ones that are going to get you the return on it. But it's no longer going for views. It's more or less like I'm even saying like you don't need millions of views. You need 10 of the right views. And value, providing the right amount. Yep. And providing the value that you know how to do, not bullshitting it. Like the age of bullshitting, like Gary Vee said it a couple of years ago, like that's gone. Like now I really think it's gone. Like you can't bullshit your way on social media anymore because there's too many people that will call you out. Everyone's gonna call you out no matter what. But there's just too many people already doing the same thing. A couple of years ago, there was 1 or 2 guys talking about agency content. Now, all I do is scroll. I'm starting an agency, or starting a web design, starting a web design. The only ones that are going to win in this oversaturated world are the ones that can actually produce, like you just said. 100%. So my whole perspective has changed. Like even that conversation we had the other day, it's like views aren't going to do shit anymore. They're really not. It's how can I take those views and convert them into either payment or whatever you're looking for, networking, whatever it is. Now the networking factor of it, I'll tell you this. Laura from Crime Scene, the top accountant that owns like the biggest firm, I don't know who the name is, they met at a mastermind. Her entire staff watches Laura's content. They're going to lunch next month. And she's like, the only reason I want to, like, she is a fan and wants to go. So at that level, you're talking kind of 2 different games at that point,
It's almost like a mass networking tool.
That's
I mean,
what it
when
is.
people say it's not
It's
what
status
you know,
too.
it's who you know, well, guess what? Social media is the path to getting in front of everyone you want to get in front of. 'Cause these algorithms are so
It's an
good.
extension of your brand put out to the metaverse, right?
But it's also reputation at the same time too, because you know what? If you have that many people that are following you, that means that hey, you're probably doing something freaking right. And and in this day and age, like it's an easy way to like before, like you said, you have to meet somebody on the street. I don't have to meet anybody on the street. I'm gonna send them a DM, and whatever I'm at, whatever like level I'm at, makes it a little bit easier. But again, there's people that are just like, nah, like that are like that. They're like, nah, I don't care how many fucking followers you got. Like, what do you do? How can you help me? And that's the end of it,
Where do you guys see the next generation, right? The kids that are 14, 15 now that have, all this experience ahead of them, all the, where the Logan Pauls and were 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
I think
where's the younger generation?
I think
spending their attention.
I think traditional business comes back. The plumbers, the iron workers, the carpenters, the walking into places. Because everybody that's scrolling right now thinks the only way to make money is to make YouTube videos. But as someone who's grown his own following to over 20K, all of my business did not come from there. It came from the people I spoke to on the street and walked up to and said, hey, here's what I did. Here's what I can do for you.
1,000%. Well, we talked about it recently, right? Where, we have similar businesses, right? There's some overlap in what we do. I'm more niche in customer service oriented, face to face. I meet our team meets our customers. We have a physical product behind what we do. And you said something to me and it blew my mind. It's like, I'm like, how many of your customers have you actually met in person or shook their hand? And it took you a while to think about it. And you run an amazing business, right? You have an amazing following. You do really well. And I'm like, you haven't met anybody? I'm like, how does that work? How do you do that? Yeah. Where I'm more, like I said, the control freak where, it's an older school approach. But here's the question now. My approach was going to businesses, telling them who I was, getting the business, getting the trust, building the brand of trust, getting a referral, and then copy paste. So someone I did business with 5 years ago is still supporting me because of that face to face that we have, or that once every couple months they call me and they need something. In the world of lead generation and having the lead funnels and paying for the Google ads and the Facebook ads and whatnot, how secure is that method if the algorithms change? We talked about earlier. Yeah. If the machine changes, if all of a sudden Google says, hey, you can't do paid ads anymore, how does that impact your funnel, your lead generation, your method to sales?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be tremendous at this point. It is our main funnel, but I think that there's a couple of key factors, right? You look at stuff like organic content right now, and I'm talking web content, not social media content. The whole world is changing, when it comes to web content, and not so much in the sense that, hey, my sink broke, it's leaking, and I need a plumber, right? I'm going to go Google, a plumber locally. You'll still see similar search results, right? Google's always going to change that. You're still going to see the ads there, and I'll get to the ads in a second. You're still always going to see that. But in the SEO world, the whole goal was to create web content to drive potentially interested people to your site, to eventually get them on some kind of lead capture, right? So, when you see a local plumbing business that's writing content about how to fix the
gasket
that broke, right? It's because they're going after people that are trying to do it themselves, but they eventually can't, right? They realize they can't, and guess what? They're gonna have buttons all over the place that say "call now," right? Call now.
That's screwed. I can't do it myself. Let me just call
exactly. So that was like the main focus of SEO. Everyone thinks that's when I search for my business or maybe like the main keyword, right? That's the idea, and so. That world, the extra, right, the outside where, hey, how do I fix this? How do I do that? Is quickly going away because AI is just taking over. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen, you search
Google AI box.
Yeah, and it's killing traffic. We've seen it. We have a lot of articles on our website about how to do things on Wix. And our traffic's been down about 20%.
Just from the AI search.
That search box. Yeah, even
again, that's a market disruptor.
So
it's a market disruptor. But let me take it back to the ads because there's one component that I don't think is ever going to go away, and that's the ads, right?
They can't get rid of. That's their whole business model.
It's the whole business. Facebook and Google are built on ad revenue. They're going to do everything they can to keep ads number one, and you see it. Ads are still number one, right? The first thing that shows up on a search result right now above your AI result are the ads. They're the people trying to.
And the thing that I have to say about ads, if an ad doesn't convert, people stop paying for ads, so they need to figure out a way to keep that. And to the one point, the one downfall of Google is going to be the politics of it. It's like there's a large group of people in the United States that don't trust these AI models strictly because of how things have gone the last 3 years. Not to get into politics, but it's like there's certain things that get typed out on these platforms that it's like, hey, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That's that's one viewpoint, whatever it is.
Now it's just flat out wrong.
Now let me just say this: the AI, you'll read it, you'll get a quick response, but that person, and this is what I do with John Deere. That person, so it's like our equipment ranges from from all the way from $3,500 to $1 million, multi-million dollar tractors. This is where social content comes into play and video content comes in, because that person who's going to go make a $90,000 investment into a machine probably going to take a couple hours to watch some videos on it. Or if they're going to research now a guru online who's pitching them, I'm going to make you millions of dollars and all this, they're going to do their due diligence to see if this guy's legit. They're going to go on Trustpilot. They're going to look at his videos, this and that. That's where the video content is now going to take over, because video content's going to get great, but if it even gets to that point, it's going to be very hard for Google to automatically create a video that's going to answer your question within the milliseconds that you have to do it. It'll probably happen someday, but I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. And
it takes too much
computing power. There's not enough money for it, and it's like, and we're even seeing it. We even see it with John Deere with the way that the views come in.
Is there money to be made with Google if they get to that point?
What do you mean?
I think it's just going to give them another avenue to sell ads.
But yeah, that's it. Because
So what makes you say that's not going to happen sooner than later? When there's money and there's incentive, there's solutions, right?
I think there's serious computing power that goes into it, and I don't think that they'll.
Do you understand the amount of data you need to create video? Like we're talking. No, what's bigger than a terabyte? I don't even know. Like what?
Yeah, but even that sense, I think that they're gonna stick to their. The thing is, Google's constantly changing search results, but they can only deviate so much, and I think that's why ads have stayed pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Because, for the last how long has Google been around? I don't even know. 10 years, 15 years?
More than that.
Oh my God, no,
90s, bro. 90s.
I remember being in middle school.
All right, so
30
even
years,
longer.
30 plus years
Yeah.
now.
Search results, it looks different, but it's not all that different,
Yeah, it hasn't
right?
really
You
changed
have
that much.
a white background with some blue or purple text, and
Yeah.
it's a listing.
At the end of the day, AI is definitely going to make it more difficult, and the only advantage I see in it with the video content is that to consistently post video content, like I explained to you guys when we first had this, it's like the burnout is that people will not be able to. And AI tools will make it faster. We could do this, we could do that. The editing side of it, they're but AI, I don't believe will ever fully take over an editor. I think that there's a lot of tools out there, especially that I use, that make my process faster, so I can get faster output, and it makes it cheaper for my customers. But for the most part, like a good editor who understands a good social strategy and is a creative thinker, those are the ones that are gonna take off, and that's what you need that's what people are gonna need in their businesses.
So I'm a young 17-year-old,
Yep.
right? I'm finishing high school. I don't know which direction I want to go, but I know that the market is shifting, and we need manual labor again. We need plumbers, we need electricians. We need those jobs again. They're the ones that are making more than doctors, and they're getting in and out of school with no debt, and they're out in the field at 20 years old making $100,000.
Making millions out of this. Continue.
So now you have the leverage of social media, you have the leverage of ads, you have everything in your arsenal. Should this kid be all in on that approach to get his name out there?
I think that if you're a young 17-year-old kid, your story is you have time. You don't need to make money with social media right now. You don't. It looks cool to have a Lamborghini at 21 years old, and half these guys are renting them because I know half these guys. I think at 17, you should be documenting the process of showing who you are, because that whole reputation score can be killed with one post, and the earlier you start it, it's only going to be better for you. If you want to go into this manual labor route, which you should, because there's going to be billions to be made in these industries as all these boomers retire. Right now, you're 17, you're going to start plumbing school. If you start posting 3 videos a week of hey, I'm in plumbing school, here's what I'm learning, whatever it is, a real authentic approach to this kind of stuff. Your grandma's going to follow it. Your mom's going to follow it. They're going to be like, oh, I love what you're doing, this and that. The local people in your group are the first ones that are going to watch it and support you. You go through, I think with Journeyman's 2 years, whatever. You go through those 2 years. You show everything you learned. You show how hard you worked. I guarantee. And you say, I want to start building an email list when I'm doing it. And you're really prepping that for the next 2 years. By the time you get out of plumbing school, by the time you're done being an apprentice, you'll have 20,000 people on an email list. You'll send one email. I am now a plumber. What do you need help with?
At what point does you have to be good at what you do? You need time to learn the skill and the trade and the craft.
When you're done with your apprenticeship.
And I go back to, you can have all the followers you want, but if you can't answer the call, if you can't get out there, if you can't do the actual good job, the guy who's consistent, slow, and steady, who handles what he can handle. Who wins the race in the?
Did you hear what I said? I didn't say followers though. Did you hear what I said? I said email list.
Okay.
So you're spending all that time building that value, showing like I've been going through this entire process. You're just documenting the process. You're not selling. I'm not saying you're not selling anything throughout this entire thing. You're building up that sweat equity of I'm doing this and I'm learning it and I'm working with these guys, whatever. I'm telling a couple of stories here and there. If you do that from the beginning to the very end, where it's like you're ready to go and start your own plumbing company, at that point you already have a list, like a basis of people who want to work with you. Is what the point that I'm trying to make. It's not like I'm saying like when you're ready. It's not bullshitting like, oh, I'm in plumbing school. I can come help you out. You know, I don't even have my license yet, but I'll take care of you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying building up that sweat equity while you're doing it to basically just build your brand and build that relationship with these people so that you have something when you're coming out of it, and it's like you're not just like, you know, going out into the world and now you have to learn these skills, you know, because now even though you've done all that, even if you never sold a single thing, you know, you have marketing skills. Now you have marketing skills. You have skills on how to, you know, build a funnel maybe. You know, you've learned all these things. The point that I'm trying to make is that if you do it from beginning to end and you document the process of you becoming that expert, the day you are that expert, you're going to be unbeatable.
Who decides if you're the expert or not?
Well, that comes down to I can't answer that for a plumber, but I'm saying that comes down to that day, like whenever you're ready to take that leap for yourself. Like you said, we all in the beginning of this podcast, we all said about those moments. Whenever that moment is for you, that's when it is. I'm not saying to just do it immediately, you know, but there's a certain essence of documenting the journey that people like.
So you're telling a 17-year-old today that's going to electrician school, be aware, learn the skill, learn the trade.
Yes.
There's no shortcuts. You got to be good at what you do. You got to learn, but document
yourself. Document yourself learning the trade, and when you fuck up, say, "Oh wow, I fucked up today." You know, because guess what? We're all freaking human.
Everyone has to, in a sense, be the star of their own reality show and put it out there.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Like
But
social media.
that's social media, though. That's
Yeah.
and hold on.
I know it's the world. I mean, that's your world.
That's my
right?
world.
Yeah.
That's my world. That's why this is my point of view. Now, let me tell you something else. The richest people I know probably aren't on social media. You're making a conscious choice to go down that path, and you have to understand that there's a lot of negatives that come with that. Putting your life online like that, like there is. He remember he watched most of it. I was on the high until I fucked up. Everybody snapped on me like that, and that's what you get when you play the game. So if you're okay with and I wasn't ready for that. I love the high, but when that snap hit, oh, Tony didn't like that.
This is very interesting to me. It's not the world I live in. I don't think it's the world I want to live in, right? But you have to be aware of it. You have to know. You have to know what's going on, and you want to do something. Understand what your kids are doing, and these cell phones came out. Yeah, what harm could they do, right? Or this came out. You have to at least be aware of it. So I get exposure. I get smarter just by being in the room with you guys and guys like you who, not that I'm going to go down that path, but I like to learn and what the mindset is because you always have to learn, right? You're always learning, you're always evolving. And you guys are the future, right? The kids behind you are the future.
Kids behind us are the future.
Right?
But
So
you're basically the point that I'm trying to make is that your social media is a giant freaking resume that people can relate to you on. And it's like relationships. If someone can relate to you, they'll buy from you. They don't want to buy from a guy who's doing better. The first thing I learned in door-to-door sales, don't wear a watch, don't wear a gold chain, look broke. Look like you can relate to these people when you go into the hood and selling a fucking security system. Relate to these people, you know? If you can relate on that level and like teach people how to do it, because there's some people that will just run plumbing. There's some people that will just run plumbing companies and like run these companies. They're not going to sell a fucking course. I'm not telling you to sell a course. Selling a course is a terrible fucking idea. But make your plumbing company the best plumbing company out there and show it on social. Don't show I'm an expert here. Buy this course for me to make millions in the plumbing industry, because there's people that will end up doing that. That's totally fine. But if you're going to run the best plumbing company on the planet, be the most authentic on social.
I just see it as another avenue.
That's it.
it's diversifying the.
You have to
attention.
be both. There's no doubt that traditional business comes down to how. Well, I don't mean it like that. I mean the traditional skills of being a business owner, customer service, plays a big role. Social media will get you in front of the crowd. May get you a sale or two here, but it's not going to.
You still got to have the skills. You still got to.
Listen.
It's not going to take over.
To your point, if you're going to go down that business owner route, the first thing I wouldn't be documenting. The first thing that I would do, get a job in door-to-door sales. That is the best piece of advice that was given to me, that I wish somebody gave to me. Because that 3 months that I did that, I wish I would have done it for even longer. The constant rejection, that's how you build a business. Like in all seriousness, like that's the first thing I think you need to learn. Like anybody, and I'm saying that about anybody. Whether you want to be a plumber, you want to sell, you want to be in social media like what I have with an agency. You want to run ads. You want to do digital design. The first thing you need to learn is how to approach somebody and get them and become their friend and get them to buy from you.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, this point of view, it's refreshing because when you come up with a certain mindset, I thought there was only one way of doing things. Yeah. Everybody does, and if you're closed-minded, you're going to continue to think that. Independent, learn from. I don't agree 100% with everything I hear and listen, but I take it at face value. I'm like, okay, take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that.
Exactly. But I think that the person who goes on and teaches your way of doing business, that's worked for centuries. Social media's been around 15 years, bro.
I say it all the time. Our grandparents made love the same way we do, and their grandparents made love the same. Nothing changes, right?
I don't know. OnlyFans changed a lot of.
I'm just saying that,
No, 100%.
We
but
were
it's
made
true.
The same way.
Business was going on years, like social, like media and all this shit with content and SEO and all this. It's not even 0.0001% of time that business has happened.
So let me reverse this.
Yeah.
If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you be doing?
Me? That's fucking rough, man. Oof, you really put me on the spot there, man. Nah, if I wasn't.
If you were that 17-year-old right now.
That 17-year-old. If I was 17 right now, yeah. I was doing a lot of drugs at 17. No, if I was that 17-year-old right now, I would be learning the trades. I wouldn't be learning social. I would be learning the trades, honestly. I do this I monetized my passion, which I'll also say was a little bit of a mistake. There was a time where I just loved to do this. There was no making money to it. It was just pure enjoyment. There's something nice about that. There's also something nice about having a nice bank account too. But I do this out of passion, and it's cool that I get to live a life where my job is fun. But if I was being like, okay, I want to, change the world, really do something, yeah, I do something in the trades 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely not baking though, because just definitely not baking. But contributing to society, farmers contribute to society. That's the one thing John Deere has taught me. These guys, they wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day. They sledge through hurricanes, ice, all this other shit. They're the happiest motherfuckers I ever met in my life. And they're bitching all day long, but they are at peace. And you don't see that every day.
What would you be doing? What's your dream job if you were hit the reset?
Honestly, if I hit the reset, I have this little poster from kindergarten, I would probably be a pilot.
Dude, you took it out of my mouth.
Yeah.
You took my thing, yeah.
Yeah.
You took my.
I actually had a dream last night I was flying.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird, but
You took it. That's
I
funny.
would be a pilot.
That's
yeah.
so funny.
And honestly, I that poster I'm talking about, kindergarten, it was the Air Force. I want to be in the Air Force. I think I would consider that route.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. You watch some of these things on YouTube, you see how Air Force supports the guys on the ground. I think it's really cool. And when you could buzz by going crazy speed, I don't even know how fast they go. But it's insane.
This might be weird, but it's something about driving big equipment just is fun, man. I swear to God, bro, dude, have my job seriously. That's why I would do it.
So fast forward now, you're in your 20s now, right? You went through all the phases. You started a business, bought a business, sold a business, blah blah. Now you just want to coast.
Yeah.
And you want to do something. Yeah. What would it be?
Right now.
Coasting through life?
Yeah, money's not an option, and you just want to do what you want to do. You're too old to be a farmer. You're beat off.
Yeah. That's actually harder, man. Oh.
It's one of those things, I feel like in our worlds right now, it's never been a thought.
Because you're always on go. Yeah. But it's going to come.
Listen to me.
You're going to be 35, 36.
Hold on. My grandfather worked till he dies. Both grandfathers did something until and my one grandfather worked until he died, until he had an aneurysm that killed him. He was in the bakery every day. My other grandfather, he watched a lot of TV. And they both had their problems, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, man. Something about like just going till the very end. Like, what else are you gonna do?
What would you be doing?
I'd probably be working in a freaking bakery, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all goes full circle.
You
Huh?
don't know what's messed up.
At 17 I wouldn't do that. But when it comes down to it, it's like, you know that first skill you learned?
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't go away. It's like...
Yeah, but in a different world, I think you're looking at it like, hey, if you were running your own bakery,
That's a
you would
different
do
scenario.
things.
It's a very different scenario.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a
You would
very
be doing
different
it your way, and you can enjoy it.
No, it wouldn't even be a bakery like my father have. Little cafe on the side of a bar. Maybe has a bar. We do late night coffees, like in Astoria. You know the coffee shops over there. Something along those lines. Like that. That to me is retirement. That or a food truck, something like that. That is my ideal retirement. Is like continuing to work because I know I'm the type of person that if I don't work, bad shit happens. Bad shit happens if I'm not working, man.
So it sounds
I
like
agree.
Retirement.
I agree.
We'll start a restaurant.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll take over the Addition in Tampa. What do you think?
Yeah, you never know.
I asked Bill today. I said, I'm like,
no,
hey, would you ever run a
not
restaurant again?
not a corporate thing. Like I know my customers that come in every day. I put a smile on their face. That's my retirement.
Interesting.
We have
How
to.
about you?
These batteries are gonna fucking die, bro.
Being a father, which to me is the greatest title ever, right? And God willing, you guys are going to feel it. And my dream is to do something with my kids.
Yeah.
You know,
Five Guys, that shit, bro.
my dream is to do something with my kids. You know, if my daughter one day comes to me and says, "Dad, you know what? I want to go to law school. You know, I'm thinking about let's do it. You know, like, how can I support you, right?
Yeah.
How can we do it together? How can I just be the support? Like, you want to start it? Like, I would love, and it's not even to follow my path and do it.
Yeah.
Who knows what I'll be doing in 20 years, but just being their support, like being the right hand. Hey, Dad, can you run out and do this for me because I need this for the business? Or can I want them to be independent, learn from my mistakes, and they got to fall on their own face. They got to figure it out on their own, but anything that involves supporting them. You know, there was a video I saw the other day. I think so. Jerry Jones from the Cowboys was on some show, and he actually did a pretty good. There was a nice little 2-minute clip of him acting, and he's telling the guys like basically. You know, I did a lot of great things with the team, with oil, business, gas, and business. And a part of me is like, is he acting or is he telling the truth? Like, it's his true. It's part of his true story. Is it? But nothing compares to doing it with my family, to doing it with my kids.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt that. So that's kind of my retirement, whatever it be. You know, my son said, "Dad, I want to be a plumber. Let's do it. What do you need from me? How can I? You know, I want to just stay busy with you."
The reason I said Five Guys, that
What they did, he gave his kids an option. Do you want to go to college? Do you want to start a business? All four said, let's start a business.
Yeah, I have no pressure on my kids, but if they
Yeah.
tell me they don't want to go to college, make me a very happy man. Right? Very happy man. Not because financially, but you'll learn a lot more on the streets.
Well, financially helps.
Financially
Yeah,
helps.
that too.
I think
Nowadays,
I-
50 grand.
Unless
is
you're going to
massive.
become a doctor, lawyer, that kind of thing. But they're going to go.
Just to have the TikTok
Yeah.
make, what you make in 1 month.
Listen,
at that point, I hope that I hit that number. Like I asked you that one time, and I want to I want to not know that like the whole financial freedom aspect of it is like that's the one thing I want to secure first. And over life, at first it was like get rich. It's not getting rich. It's now become financially secure to a point that I can really do what I want. And that's my whole thing to work for, because I feel like people you float in your 20s, but realistically to really hit that $1 million, $3 million, everyone I've seen do it, it's been between 1 and 5 years. If you can commit for that 1 and 5 years to set you up to be able to do these things, the restaurant, to become the pilot, whatever it is, because it's never too late, bro. You know what I mean? It's like you can still do this stuff, and that's the one thing that you showed me. It's like, dude, you're 37 and you just started. You know what I mean? Just started, bro. That's what I'm saying, man.
On you guys, I feel like I gained 20 years. You know?
But that's that's what I'm saying. It's like
you're never too old.
it's crazy. It's crazy
cool.
to think that. And even now, I'm like, there's so much more I can do. But now, just hunker down, focus the next 10 years, get calculated, and then just do it. Just fucking do it.
Love it.
Anyway, so this is a podcast.
It's about Tampa. It's 9:30. We've gone for an hour and 20 minutes, bro. Hour and 20 minutes.
Halfway Joe Rogan style
Yeah, man.
status.
I told you this is good. This is good when it gets lost like this. This is good. This is good.
gotta
So
get that
real
time-
quick
that time
to
right.
wrap this thing up, what is this podcast about?
It's a darn good question.
Really
Start a
looked
good
like a
question.
Guido back in 2015. I'm just saying this. I'm me personally, right? If I ever were to freeze time and look back at it, I want to look back and say, wow, that was actually a time in my life that was pivotal, transformative. So that the younger Billy or the younger Tony, so I ask a lot of questions about what I'd like to learn.
Yeah.
What would you do if we reset, and what would you do? So I'm always thinking about the people behind, the kids behind us. Maybe
Right.
because it's the father instinct in me.
Yeah.
So my mind's always like, what can we leave behind so that you ever see those with time machines or whatever, that you leave something in a bottle and somebody finds it.
Capsule.
For the,
Time
for the,
capsule.
For the record,
That camera has to be on this side from now on for you. I realize because since we're sitting like this, you're talking at me. I'm just making a note of that for me.
Gotcha. So if I put my 2 cents, anything we can, somebody can watch this in 3 years, and it's still applicable, right? There's a lesson or a tidbit here that they can take with them. Because I listen to a lot of podcasts, right? A lot of guys who, it's a podcast 2016 about business, self-help, motivation, and it's timeless. It's still saying the same principles, right?
Yeah.
I think I see it as, something where, like we've all said, like we've had fantastic conversations, just sitting around the table with no microphones, no cameras, nothing. And going back to the beginning of, feeling that loneliness here, right? And then having you guys come in and having these conversations has just opened my mind so much. And if we can take the conversations we have and do the same for someone else, especially locally in Tampa, right? There's other entrepreneurs out there. There's young guys out there that are doing things that, we're doing, or they're ahead of us, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I think if we can inspire those people and bring them on, talk, have these conversations, that's the whole goal here. And really just get in front of the world.
Yeah.
my camera just died, so this is going to be silent and black for Tony.
It's a monologue.
It's a monologue.
Tony's final thought.
Tony's final thoughts. No, I want to use this because, for 2 reasons. Mine are, I love what you guys said. Mine are very, very selfish. But I think that Tampa is going to be the next hub of these kind of personal brands. And I think that this is a good time to start this, talking just to other people that are up and coming.
Yeah.
And I think 3-4 years from now, that Tampa is going to be a New York. Is going to be a mainstream city. Like, in all seriousness, I think it's going to be it's going to be one of those. It's going to be a big little city, and I want to get ahead of it.
Yeah.
And also, I just think it would be. This is the easiest way to network with people you don't know. Like, hey, come talk about yourself for an hour and a half. We would love to hear it.
So we're in the building with a bunch of people that we don't know what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they could be like even a couple of kids. There's 3 guys I met that each have aspirations of starting their own business.
Yeah.
They're actually actively trying to start it.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing? I do it. I'll go get out. How'd you start? And it's. Did you guys know that there's a bunch of us here that
Started a business?
And
we're in the same position as
same
you
position,
ago.
right?
Yeah.
So.
And that's part of it. I mean, going back to, we're here, we know each other. How are we going to get in front of other people that are here, but they're in that lonely stage, they're in that lonely path right now? Because we all know entrepreneurship is
Very lonely.
Very lonely.
Very lonely. So, I think that's the real reason.
Yeah,
That's it.
for sure. Good job, guys.
Love it.
So my wife says.
That's a solid first